I am Scott Trageser, the Executive Director and Board Chair of the Biodiversity Group. We're a wildlife conservation nonprofit based in the US. We have a global presence, and we protect life overlooked through various expeditions and technological developments and creating tools and services for the conservation community. Essentially, when we go on expeditions and we rediscover something that hasn't been seen in 50 odd years, which tends to happen, we end up drawing straws to who has to take the duty of euthanizing the specimen, which is what science currently mandates we do. And so this was a frustration point for all of us because nobody wants to kill, hey, there's this beautiful thing that we just rediscovered, now we have to kill it. And that's like obviously something that we should try to change. So I had the crazy idea of why don't we just try to create, well, first of all, I was like, can we use just photographs? Can we do something with photographs to that sufficient detail that we could actually just use that as a specimen? That turns out it's not really that viable. But if you could have enough photographs and create a 3D image of something with high enough resolution, that becomes a viable digital specimen. So the novel thing about this is that we could take this whole setup now, using new commercial technology, and put it into a 25-liter backpack. So I can just take it solo out into the jungle with me and take 3D images, when prior to that you'd need like a whole crew of porters and mules and like tons of gear that's going to get wrecked in the jungle and everything else. Then the education side of it is also it's incredibly exciting because there's this whole generation, a lot of you probably listening, that are really into technology. We're all using it. We're using it right now. In classrooms all around the world, we can have potentially like holographic projections of these animals. We could have like a 3D tablet displaying them. You can put VR goggles on it and see it. So as soon as I rediscover the species, it hasn't been seen in 50 years, I can upload that to the cloud with Starlink while I'm in the field. And then everybody in the world has instantaneous access to like basically holding this animal that we just saw that nobody's seen and has looked for decades. And that kind of engagement, that kind of reach, that kind of instantaneous gratification is really exciting for the conservation side of it. For 300 years, scientists have had to euthanize animals in order to learn more about them. We have these expeditions to rediscover something that hasn't been seen in many decades. We don't know if it's the last one on Earth, so we really don't want to euthanize it. Being able to have an alternative for many situations and being able to have it be so easy is something that everybody's talked about. And now this is the initial unveiling of the 3D scanning system. The Biodiversity Group is the one that instigated the design of this, and Sony was generous enough to give us the equipment here and finally enabled us to do something that we've been hoping to do for over a decade. Now, with a simple scan and a simple DNA swab, we are able to get almost all the data we would otherwise have from a physical specimen. All my colleagues are extremely excited about this. This is a rather unique situation where the world of wildlife conservation is leading a technology industry. The versatility of this rig is unique, and we could take 3D scans of any inanimate object, but where this shines is with vertebrates, with something that is constantly moving. Doing the burst mode and be able to spin on an axis quickly to be able to capture that moment in time in a 3D space, that's unique. The technology here is not necessarily new, but that used to entail an entire crew coming out with giant cameras, and with this we can have a single person come out, and it's amazing. It's so low powered and so portable that we can take this anywhere. So we're 5 hours away, a fairly tedious hike to be able to get back to any actual power. We can put this whole rig into a 25-liter backpack, hike it in to find something that's critically endangered, and take non-invasive 3D scans of virtually everything we collect, so we can get larger amounts of data than we would otherwise, and put it right back into the wild after 2 hours of holding it. And within a day or two, we can walk back to the community and have this accessible to the world. There's really no limit to what you can do with these 3D images after the fact, and it's my hope that this is going to reach new audiences, which is what conservation truly needs. We need to engage the whole world, and this might be the key. And that, for me, is really exciting.